how you doing? So let's go with today's topic. Today's topic is how do you build a strong sales team? Now I'll tell you a little bit of background about myself. Before I got into the sales industry, I was heavily involved in football. Done that since I was a child up until late teens. Now that faded out and I looked for new careers, and sales was the career I looked into. Now what resonated together and what married together was the ability of, when it comes to sales, you're just competing. It's about who's being the best, who can get the most sales, who can make the most money. It's just all about the drive, the adrenaline of, I want to be number one. And then also you had the opportunities of, if you get the foundations right, you can move on to management. There's nothing that can stop you. Now I learned a little bit later, it's not as easy as what people said it, but I'll get to that a little bit later. But the fundamentals was being able to compete at the highest level for me in sales. It was just, there's nothing higher than sometimes making the most money, especially when you was young. It was, hey, I done well this week, I done well this month, it's about to go down. But I came up in an environment where there was about 70 of us in a big office in central London, all represented different campaigns, all the management shouting at their team about who's the best team, who's the best sales agent. So I came from a nature, it was just so me, so competitive, and it really filled that gap of football. But as I got older, as I got more mature, I understood that it wasn't always about being the top seller that got me into management. It was about being the top trainer and developer. Now I learned that really quick, because when you build a team and you're the only one that can sell, the outcome's never going to be good. However, but if you're someone that can sell, you may not have to sell the best, but can sell, knows the art, sell, understands the game, and able to try to develop and train and build that. Now those people accelerate, because when you step into certain positions, the role's not always, I want you to sell. No, I want you to manage a whole sales process, develop and train. Now, the way I break down my team is very simple. For all the lovely people that I've worked with, it's been a pleasure. So the way I looked at it was this: defenders, midfielders, attackers. All of them very important, but all of them do different roles at the same time. Now your defenders are people that ensure they minimize cancellations, they minimize mistakes, they ensure that things are operating the way it needs to operate. Very important. The heartbeat, the base, the core. The midfielders are people that come in, and let's translate it this way. In football, your midfielders are people that, if the target was 30 goals a season, 30 sales a season, they'll chip in anywhere between 15 to 25 sales for you. In football terms, they'll score 15 to 25 goals a season. Your strikers now. You know where I'm going with this. Your strikers are the people that 30 is just minimum for them. It's 40, it's 50, it's 60 sales. They're just going out there and they just know how to sell, and they have the energy, the drive, the determination for it. Now, within that category, within those bases, the way you're going to have a successful team is how many strikers can you produce. Now, there's a reason why I say midfielders is anywhere between 15 to 25. Because if you're doing anything below that and you're not a defender, then it's not really looking good for you. That's when more training, development, doing everything you can to help that person. But if they can't, then the business has to move on, right? But you have to ensure first that anyone that doesn't exceed the minimum, 15 sales, for example, if the target was 30, that before you release and before you have that conversation, that you as a person has done absolutely everything you could to help that person try. Because sometimes the sales, some people want it and some people don't. And sometimes don't make it a big emotional thing. Do what you can do and then move on. It's never personal, it's always just business. But moving on, when you're talking about midfielders and strikers, how many strikers can you produce? Now, can a midfielder become a striker? Absolutely. I'll give you an example. If you don't know this person, Google him. Thierry Henry, when he started his career, he was a winger. He wasn't chipping in much goals. Then he went to Arsenal and he moved into a striker. He found his rhythm, he found his skill sets, and then he made history from there. So you can easily become a midfielder to a striker. All it really means is that you're making more money and you become more of an asset to a business because you're just bringing in so much new clients, new prospects, new business in general. But in return, you're getting paid very well and you're making a good living. But the core question is always this. Sales teams live and die by how many strikers they can produce. If you have a team of 10, having 2 strikers is not enough. Because you have 2 people that you know will hit target and the rest of them it's up and down and it's not quite getting me there. So when you're forecasting and you're kind of divided by everyone's going to hit 30, but you know deep down, you know, half my team's not going to hit 30, then it's never going to work. Now, how do you get there? How do we find great salespeople? Trust me, there's great recruiters out there, there's great job sites out there. You have to develop and train them. Start up your own academy. Going back to why I think football and sales for me marry together, because every football club, majority of them anyway, will have an academy set up. This is an academy set up where they're able to produce, train, and nurture people to be able to do what's expected. So the question I leave here today is very simple. This is the way I break down my team. And usually when things are going well and things are moving towards where they need to be, and I've done it in quite a few places, the job, telecoms, beauty, home improvement, there's a few excelled in. Not going to talk too much about that, but I thought I'd just drop that in there. You have to look at your team and evaluate them each and every day. Who are my strikers? Who are my midfielders? How do I get my midfielders to turn into my strikers? And who is working below a midfielder's job scope? Why are they working below that? And that's it. Every day consistently challenging yourself. How can I get the best out of the team that I'm blessed to manage? And listen, let me say that again. How can I get the best out of the team I'm blessed to manage? Because you've been hired and put in a position to be able to help and nurture. Never let the position get to your head. You're there to create results and develop people. In sales, if you're not looking to develop people, you don't last long. That's my personal opinion. I'm ready to argue for that. Other than that, hey, listen, take care. Bye.